Today's episode, Tears for Keirs. If you want to know what that reference is, or you're existing in a different universe, go to the newsletter today, brokenbottleboy.substack.com, for a full breakdown of the media's response to Keir Starmer's Piers Morgan's life stories appearance. But today on the show, we've got it's a four-paper show: Sun, Guardian, Times and Daily Mail. So that'll be good. And we'll be starting with the Sun in a moment. When I just throw this into the
Sun has got its hat on.
Hip, hip, hip. Not hooray. Right, gonna bosh this into the Discord and then we will get started. Stream happening at here. The show is on. Boom. Yes. Right, so we're going to start with the Sun, which is down in this pile here. What? Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Where did I get this from? The Radical Booksellers. What's that Radical Bookshop called? My head is... Houseman's. Yes, Houseman's. Thank you, Dan. Oh, I don't know. I'll struggle on manfully. Anyway, hello Dan, good to see you today. Hope you are well. The Sun is both on my screen and outside my window. Right, so starting with the Sun front page, they're still trying to get people to go to Thorpe Park, one of the most cursed theme parks in the world. Good afternoon, Mark Canosis. Good afternoon, Slinkermeyer. Good to see you. Elsewhere on the front page, first time since March 2020, 0 COVID deaths. If you're after Radical Booksellers in Liverpool, news from nowhere is elite. That's a great name for a place as well. Right, so the thing to remember about the reporting on this 0 COVID deaths thing is we don't actually know for sure right now. Those are only initial. Okay, those are only initial numbers, and it could later be recategorized that some deaths have happened. So the reporting on this in the papers is not great. Hi Shankly, how you doing? Main story is the fact that a number of Instagram influencers, some from Geordie Shore, some from X on the Beach, some from other shows, have been criticized by advertising watchdogs for making misleading posts about debt companies. They were paid to post ads to millions of followers offering to cut debt by up to 85%. This is actually an okay bit of journalism by the Sun. A rare but okay bit of journalism about this stuff. Sadly, of course, it's all wrapped up in Sunisms. On page 2, first UK ban on outdoor smoking. Oxfordshire is aiming to become the first smoke-free county by banning outdoor smoking from 2025. I'm not sure whether that will actually happen. Prince Andrew has been pictured driving past the travellers' camp that is set up outside Windsor Castle yesterday. This is a pro-traveller stream. Long may they stay outside Windsor. The headline they put on that is Caravandy Camp. On page 3, Lucy Donlan from Love Island is pictured wearing underwear from Anne Summers, who she is doing some modelling for. And the headline on page 3, that isn't page 3 but is page 3, the headline is Lucy's a Surfer Pearl. Jesus. Yes, the travellers, having seen Andy driving around, are now concerned about unsavoury sorts being seen in the area, says Mark Canosis. James Corden has needlessly embarrassed his own wife by telling Ellen that a stunt on his show in 2015, when he got Stevie Wonder to call up and sing to his wife, the behind-the-scenes fact was that his wife was on the toilet when he called her. I'm sure his wife will be delighted that James Corden has used her as a punchline in a crap joke on a show with a alleged bully, Ellen. Pages 4 and 5. PM bid to help pupils make up for lost time. 1.4 billion extra tuition. 100 million hour lessons boost. This is absolutely deranged reporting from The Sun, as you'd expect. They frame this as, isn't it brilliant, all this extra tuition? When other papers reporting more fully on the story note that the government's education recovery czar, Kevin Collins, is deeply frustrated that the government is only spending about a tenth of the money that he said it needs to spend. Slinkermeyer says, I was just thinking about a person I used to know who called James Corden a redacted to his face while working on a film with him. Amazing. So anyway, absolutely propagandistic reporting from The Sun on that story about the tuition. On pages 6 and 7, they get into detail about this Instagram influencer's story. Blast for stars over post promising cash crisis help. Now, what? Yeah, this is them promoting companies that promoted individual voluntary agreements. A debt counsellor said the ads made it look as if an IVA is a simple hassle-free process which could be entered into really easily and the debt effectively vanishes. That isn't the case at all. If people take this step, it can have long-term implications. I went bankrupt myself and am now unable to apply for certain jobs and can't get a mortgage. If people have serious money worries, then go to an organisation or a charity which doesn't charge. Any firm that makes money out of giving advice on how to navigate your way out of debt should be avoided at all costs. Yeah. Ferrero, the makers of Ferrero Rocher, amongst other things, looks like it's going to buy Burton's Biscuits, who are the makers of stuff like Jammy Dodgers and Wagon Wheels. Of course, The Sun makes that into a really weird jingoistic issue. On page 9, hottest day of the year, gratuitous picture of some ladies in bathing suits. On page 11, they pull out some quotes from Anna Maxwell Martin's interview with Grazia and give it the headline, Line of Duty Anna, My Fab 40s. On page 10, Andrew Roberts, the historian and journalist, writes about the famous consorts of prime ministers. Oddly, he doesn't mention Dennis Thatcher, but he says Sam Cam was glamorous, Cherie Blair was misunderstood, Clemmy was Churchill's best critic, and Lloyd George's wife Margaret stood by his lies. On page 11, human remains have been found just yards from Harry and Meghan's £11 million mansion. How does The Sun frame this? Harry and Meg bones chiller. Has nothing to do with them, other than that it's quite near to them. More coverage of Lord Ashcroft's daughter-in-law and the killing of a police officer in Belize. Caged in Paradise is the headline from The Sun. Jane Moore is awful. Page 16, footy clubs fighting cash trouble doubles. Nearly half of the clubs in the English Football League are facing ruinous money troubles. However might that be possible? And what role has Rupert Murdoch played in causing that to happen? I guess we'll never know. Mark Canoe says Sam Camp perhaps one of the least glamorous public figures. Literally just a regular posh woman. Exactly. Apparently Liam Gallagher really enjoys margaritas and has been ordering 8 litres of margaritas from a local pub at any one time. So what? Hello?
Hello.
What are you doing?
Closing the balcony door because it's echoing right around the corner.
Okay. I might want some breeze.
Well.
I have to put up with their noise. Page 23, New Labour Romantic. It's the coverage of Keir Starmer's... The pictures of Keir Starmer as a young man. I mean, whatever. Gokwan says he'll do I'm a Celebrity. I don't know if they've asked him. Grim news as police confirm that Sarah Everard died from compression of the neck. Of course, The Sun describes her as tragic Sarah Everard. Absolutely despise the use of that in connection with anyone who dies, being used by the awful tabloids. Dan Jones says, exclusive, margaritas are nice. Yeah, yes, Slinkermeyer, exactly. The Keir Starmer story is middle-aged man was once young. Malala is on the front page of front cover of Vogue this month, and the Sun gives it the headline, Malala Me Time. Going to university finally gave campaigning Malala Yousafzai time for herself. The Nobel Prize winner 23 finished her Oxford degree last year. Taliban victim. What a horrible two-word descriptor for her. Education campaigner might be better. Malala told Vogue, I was excited about anything, going to McDonald's or playing poker with friends. I had not seen that much before. I always think Malala comes over really well. Yeah, good for her. As staycations boom, it's the £700,000 caravan. New record for humble holiday home. A caravan on the market for a whopping £700,000 is Britain's most expensive, and experts predict others like it could sell for £1 million. That's not something to be celebrated. It is yet another yet more evidence that we live in a completely broken housing system. Red Tick Seed in with a solid review of the Malala book there. Her book was all right. On page 27, Snaffy's a cop dog. An abandoned dog unwanted for 4 years has become Britain's first explosive search staffy. Roxy, 5, has used her nose ahead of big events including Princess Beatrice's wedding and Prince Philip's funeral. This is dogaganda for the cops. I'm pro the dog, but I'm not pro cops. Route Master lad can name all 700 routes from memory. A bus-mad schoolboy can name the start and end stops of all London's 700 routes. Alfie Moynes, 12, fell in love with the famous red vehicles when he was just 6 years old. Now is an expert with the 472, the bus he rides to school every day. Here's number 1. There are 19,000 stops and 8,600 buses in the entire fleet across the capital, famous for its iconic route masters. When put to the test by the Sun, Alfie came out trumps and was able to easily reel off routes and bus numbers, all of which he is one day hoping to have taken trips on. What? On page 28 and 29, it's a double-page spread on stunt women and stand-ins for famous films. You'll be shocked, absolutely shocked, to discover that the Sun includes many gratuitous cleavage shots. Mark Kenosis says autistic excellence on the bus thing. So says Slinkermeyer, autistic represents. In the TV recommendations today, Channel 4, 9 p.m, Before We Die, a new detective series featuring Leslie Sharp. Bloods is on Sky 1, 10 p.m, paramedic sitcom. Britain's biggest nuclear power stations, documentary on 9 p.m. on BBC 2. And The Curse of Oak Island is on Sky History at 10 p.m. Rick and Marty Lagina team up with Dan and Dave Blankenship in their hunt for treasure and historical artifacts. There we go. Thanks, Red Tick Seed. I'm a big fan of this. A big fan of this t-shirt. And actually, I was cycling through East London just after I got it, and I was stopped by a woman who must have been in early mid 60s, and I thought she was going to say something off about it, and she was like, amazing t-shirt. I was a big supporter of them back in the day, and it was very cool. Anyway, Dear Deirdre, her casebook Lily's Baby Longing is on day 3. Lily is feeling upset by her stepdaughter and the absence of her own child. Who knows what will happen next? In Fab Daily, 10 signs you are with the wrong person. You stopped going to Zumba. They skipped your family birth party. You nod along when friends slate him or her. You never argue. Oh, that's good. I'm definitely not with the wrong person. It says you're with the wrong person if you never argue.
Oh, that's fine then, twat. You giant penis.
You're just putting this on now. You fall asleep in front of the TV. Okay.
Are we doomed or not?
No, we're not doomed. Being coo over you. People coo over you being BFFs. You think
We're not BFFs.
we're not? No. No, because Claire would Claire's your BFF, and as great as you are, you know, John is. You think about sex, just not with them. Well, it's okay to think about sex with other people. That's fine. You don't know how they vote. I know how you vote.
I know how you vote.
They say I love you.
You know that I know how I vote because you keep calling me a centrist, even though I'm not.
You are a bit.
I'm not a fucking
you are a
centrist.
bit of a centrist, and you're getting. No, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine on these. There are two wolves inside your relationship. One never argues, one always argues. Mixed BFF, John Rental. That's right. CITR, centrist in the room. She's not really a centrist. It's just... I had one fight in 7.5 years. Clearly, I'm with the wrong person. Well, we don't have big fights. We occasionally mindly disagree and then have to tell child in the room that we're not actually arguing. On the sex and love pages, has Christian finally ironed out his kinks? Fans give verdicts on Mr. Grey's third and final 50 Shades book. Demand for 50 Shades led author E.L. James to rewrite them all from Christian's perspective. Jesus Christ. Yu-Gi-Oh! Every so often, Mick is just wrong, and it gets loud. I'm wrong very often. Mark Canosis, meet me in the relationship dojo, Mr. Chapo. Yes. In their 101 Things to Do in Bed Before You Die, number 45, Sunny Days. Sexpert Kate Taylor says, want a lustier lad this summer? Then get him to sunbathe. An Austrian study found men's testosterone levels were hugely affected by how much vitamin D they were getting. And the biggest source of vitamin D is sunlight. Set up sun lounges in a secluded spot and give him a naughty massage with sun oil. Fucking whatever. Studying Fangirl says Amanda the Jedi has some great YouTube videos about the awful continuing 50 Shades thing. Big news. Coins. Own the official licensed product, UEFA Euro 2020 Pure Gold coin today. Available for just £39. Coins. Chronotherm tuned in just for coins. Coins all over the place. Right, anyway, £39 that is. It weighs 0.5 grams. And it's 24 karat gold. The £50 letter in the Sun today comes from Amelia Barnes, who writes, the volunteers helping out across our COVID-19 vaccination centres have been amazing. What would we have done without them? But more help is needed to take the final step out of blah, 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 blah. This is totally written by someone in the office. Elijah Clay says, so Rishi Sunak was a big BBC fan when he was living in the US. Well, he would be, wouldn't he? Not having to pay any licence fee over there, leaving it up to our pensioners to subsidise it. What? Sandra Queen of Harlow says, I applaud the Sun immensely for encouraging people to sign up with the Royal Voluntary Service. These unsung heroes do not get the praise they deserve for helping to save lives. Well done. What's that?
Queen of Harlow?
Queen of Harlow, yeah. Anthony Horton of Warnborn says, yet again, the North-South divide is apparent. My daughter is 26, a teacher in Manchester, and still cannot get a job. Oh dear. Yeah, a jab. Phil Hind from Great Yarmouth says, why are all the doom mongers trying to lock us down again? We will soon know if the Indian variant is going to cause serious problems. Thousands of people have been mingling over the bank holiday weekend. So if there is to be a spike, it will surely show itself within the next week. Phil Hind there, an expert virologist, just writing into the Sun letters page. Mick from Wrexham, no relation, says, we all remember how much time and hard work it took to gain peace in Northern Ireland. Bureaucrats are risking that with their attitude to the border. June says, if Nicola Sturgeon wants Scotland to rejoin the Erasmus student exchange scheme, she should be told Scotland will have to find the money itself. And Chris writes, looking at the crowded beaches over the bank holiday weekend, the big reopening of June 21st is already here. Fuck off. Yes, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go and get the chocolate coins from the fridge. For a second, I thought this was a coin with a fish on it and got excited. Pisces of Silver, says Chronotherm. Good work. Burger sales sizzled at the weekend with Sainsbury's shifting 480,000 burgers. Shoppers also snapped up 343,000 items from the supermarket's new summer eating range. Well, looks like the PR person from Sainsbury's will be delighted today. Men's pull-on leisure trousers. They're trying to sell you pull-on leisure trousers. Very much the thing you would expect a sunraiser to enjoy. Grey, denim, charcoal and black. And you can get some wide-fit trainers with them as well. Mark Canosis, yes, I imagine the transmission risk is about the same between a beach and a nightclub. Pull-on leisure trousers, yeah. Okay, and in the sport... Croc and roll. Southgate's Euros gamble. Maguire and Hendo doubts for first game. Harry, no time frame on my recovery. Gareth, it will be on me if we flop. Right, that's the Sun. Double negative nice is my rating for that one. Now, for today's speed run, which is The Guardian, which I'm going to attempt to do in 2 minutes. Given that yesterday I failed to do whatever paper I tried to do yesterday in 2 minutes, I don't have a lot of hope that I'll manage this. But let's give it a go anyway. Mark Canosis rates the Sun minus 100, coughing beachgoers. Mark Canosis answering work calls with sorry, can't help you, I'm in my leisure trousers. Yuan rates the Sun 3 fish heads. Slinkermeyer in with the double negative nice +1 for the coin. Right, let's get the Telegraph up. Oh, it's a good turnout today as well. Let me just... I'll do the roll call after I do the Guardian speed run. Dan Jones, minus 39.99 because I just bought an officially licensed UEFA Euro 2020 coin. Chronotherm, don't mock wide fit shoes. Some of us have massive feet. Okay, Bob Terwilliger. Red Tick Seed, minus 420 for the Sun. Right, here we go. Hey, Google, set timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes. And that's starting now.
Right, front page of The Guardian has Christina Hendricks with an interview on Mad Men, modelling and sexual harassment. They're talking about second-hand style. The main photo is Keir Starmer in the 80s. The main story is COVID tuition catch-up plan dismissed as inadequate. Bottom of the page, first day without virus death in 10 months. But The Guardian at least makes sense of the fact that it may not stay like that. Yes, Starmer looks like he's a member of Bauhaus. On page 3, diplomacy with a Poldark theme. Carrie Johnson to host G7 spouses. Absolutely just suck up writing from The Guardian there. No daily COVID deaths report in the UK for the first time since last July is page 4 story. On page 5, PM holds firm on opening up as scientists urge caution. Pages 6 and 7, mandatory vaccines for care home staff may be justified, says Watchdog. I would say that's true. Oh, Mr. Ambassador, fancy a wagon wheel. Ferrero Rocher make a snaps up biscuit firm. A model town that became an obsession is pictured at the bottom of page 9. The model of an old area of Middlesbrough has been a 9-year labour of love for Steve Waller. It is pretty cool looking. On page 11, 6 arrested over killing a 14-year-old in Birmingham. Horrendous. On page 13, pictures of people enjoying the hot weather on the bank holiday. On page 15, no need to avoid the big issues when Piers Morgan does it for you, says John Crace, talking about that Keir Starmer interview. On page 17, pictures of Malala from the Vogue magazine. On page 19, fashion brands accused of copying Mexican designs. Disgusting. On page 20 in the World News, Eritrean soldiers alleged to have killed 19 civilians in latest Tigray atrocity. In the Journal, Marina Hyde says amazingly, really, that the most appalling people in tennis are not the ones who applaud piously when Wimbledon umpire tells the crowd to ensure their mobile phones are switched to silent, nor even the ones who are far more hysterically enchanted by the appearance of a pigeon on centre court than they could ever be by an otherworldly Roger Federer forehand. Jesus Christ, who cares? Lucy Fawkes says, COVID's lost generation... Damn it! Damn it, I blame the Marina Hyde too long headline. Yes, stop it. Right, let's see if I can do it in 3 minutes. I'm about halfway through the paper. Lucy Fawkes says COVID's lost generation may be tougher than we imagine. That is true. In life and arts, Christina Hendricks, Mad Men Modelling and Me, and a fashion editor who says she felt nauseous in Topshop, which made her quit buying new clothes. Also in G2, Deborah Francis White says, I had hypnotherapy and it worked almost too well, and she thinks the Friends reunion teaches you that being rich doesn't make you happy. In the obituary, Simon Key, archaeologist admired for his pioneering work on the Mediterranean ports in Roman Empire. Also, Arthur Coppett, playwright and librettist, best known for the 1982 Broadway musical Nine. There's a picture of someone climbing a massive cliff face. That is on Brunny Island, Australia. Also in the world news, Havana syndrome, why experts in US think Russian microwaves may be cause of mystery illness. Thought is that a microwave weapon, an energy-directed weapon, was used there. Rare alpine parrot may have taken to peaks to avoid New Zealanders. There it is. It's a pretty cool-looking bird. The bird is a Kia. In the finance news, record rise in factory orders in Britain, US, and Eurozone drive stock markets higher. Biden's global corporate tax plan could earn billions extra for EU and Britain. In the business view, Larry Elliott says house price inflation will slow eventually, but not yet. The weather is hot, hot, hot. And in the sport, England's waiting game. Southgate admits Maguire doubtful group stages. Right, that was 4 minutes. Not great. Isn't the microwave weapon from Batman Begins? Chronotherm might avoid New Zealanders as well. Havana syndrome is fucking wild. Yes, it's a mad story. But I still, the notion that there's microwave. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to the Havana story, right? Portable microwave weapons capable of causing the mysterious spate of Havana syndrome brain injuries in US diplomats and spies have been developed by several countries in recent years, according to leading experts. A US company also made the prototype of such a weapon for the Marine Corps in 2004. The weapon, codenamed Medusa, was intended to be small enough to fit in a car and cause a temporary incapacity effect, but with a low probability of fatality or permanent injury. Scientists with knowledge of the project said ethical considerations around human experimentation had contributed to it being shelved, but that no such considerations had hindered countries such as Russia or China. Skeptics of the microwave weapon theory have pointed to decades of US efforts to build such a device during the Cold War and since without any confirmed success. They have also argued that a weapon capable of inflicting brain injury from a distance would be too unwieldy to use in urban areas. However, James Lin, the leading US authority on the biological impact of microwave energy, said a large apparatus would not be needed to focus energy on a small area, heating it a minute amount and causing a thermoelastic pressure wave through the brain. You can certainly put together a system in a couple of big suitcases that will allow you to put in a van or an SUV. Microwave weapon project for the US Marine Corps, reported in Wired magazine, was developed by a company called Waveband. Codenamed Medusa, the weapon created rapid microwave pulses that slightly heated soft tissue in the brain. Waveband was given $100,000 for a prototype that would be portable, required low power, have a controlled radius of coverage, and be able to switch from crowd to individual coverage. That's not a lot of money. A 2004 Navy document, since been removed from the US Navy Small Business Innovation Research site, said the hardware had been built. So there you go. The US was trying to develop its own weapons in the 60s and 70s. Mark Zaid, a lawyer for some of the Havana syndrome victims, has a CIA briefing slide apparently from the 60s or 70s, shows a building being hit by microwaves from structure next door. Cheryl Rofer, who worked on laser and auditory weapon research at Los Alamos National Laboratory in 1970, said the military loves death rays. Everybody loves death rays. And lasers had some of the characteristics of death rays, so people kind of got excited about that. The auditory research eventually led to the long-range acoustic device, LRAD, or sound cannon, used by some police forces against protesters last summer, but it has not resulted in any death rays. Thinking about something and actually building it are two different things, Rofer said, and seeing billions spent over the decade with little to show for it has left us skeptical about the latest claims. There you go. Yeah. Yes, agree with Mark that there's no way microwave weapons wouldn't get picked up by nearby devices. Chronotherm, famously the US cares about human rights. Slinkermeyer, I'm always fascinated by these weird mysteries, conspiracies. Has a lot of similarities with the Dyatlov past incident. Mark Canosa says it's closer to Morgellons, in his opinion. All right, so that was The Guardian. I don't know, a 0 maybe, a -2. All right, moving on. Mark Kenosis says minus 500 copies of Starmer's goth band self-released 1982 EP. We move on to the Times. Front page of the Times, usual shit in Times 2. Summer style guide. What the fashion set wear. Who the fuck are they? Johnson accused of failing pupils with cheap schools boost. At least better coverage of the fact that it's a poor, like, the apparent rescue plan for pupils who've suffered during the lockdown is not helpful. Slinker gives The Guardian a 0. Main story on the Times, fresh hope for June 21st as deaths fall to 0. I'm still dubious about that. Be green and let your lawn go brown, says the Royal Horticultural Society. On page 3 of the Times, a plumbing business started in a shed found success by keeping it in the family, writes Ashley Armstrong. Pipe dream that turned into 1 billion. Mark Radcliffe's entrepreneurial spirit was obvious when he lied about his age at 10 to get a job collecting eggs from battery hens. 20 years on, he became eBay's first millionaire. At 42, he's found fresh fortune as his online plumbing business is set to be valued at up to 1 billion. Radcliffe started Victorian plumbing from his parents' garden shed in Merseyside in 2000, setting up a website for his father who restored Victorian bathrooms as a hobby. As the company grew, his father built an extra shed to store retail products in the garden. Yesterday, the company unveiled plans for a stock market listing on London's junior market, with advisors telling the Times that it could be valued between 800 million and 1 billion. Yeah, well, that's what they would say, isn't it? More pictures of fun in the Sun. Drinkers risk organ harm even if they stick to official guidelines, apparently. We're on track for big reopening, says Minister, despite rising cases. Celebrities' 5G claims risk lives. Celebrities including boxer Amir Khan and the actress Letitia Wright, who falsely linked 5G to COVID-19, are risking people's lives and health. Interesting here, though, that the Times chooses only people of colour who've made those claims, rather than many others, including, some white stars who've made similar bullshit claims. On page 9, Russia accused of undercounting its deaths in COVID-19. Well, surprise, surprise there. 2-week total lockdown as cases surge in Malaysia. Starmer sheds tears in TV interview is the headline for the Times' story on that, while Quentin Letts says Labour's robotic QC is a real QT on the QT. If you want to actually read something which I believe is funny, I mean, I wrote it, about Starmer's tearful antics, do read today's newsletter, brokenbottleboy.substack.com. I'm on a mission to try to double the number of paid subscribers by the newsletter's year's anniversary, which is coming up in June. At the moment, it has... at this very moment, the very moment I'm saying these words to you, it has 2,058 subscribers and overall, and 225 paid subscribers. My aim is, if I can, by the end of June, to hit 450 subscribers. It's a bit of an insane attempt, but if I can, I'd be very pleased. And that's anything. That's subscribers from anything from the £5 a month tier, or the £30 a year tier. Either would be awesome. So if you want to help me with that, do. If not, thank you for supporting me in other ways through the show, as you do right now. Mark Kenosis, you want to read something funny? Read Quentin Letts' tweet about his friend's son's football league. Well, I'm gonna have to read that now. Let's see what it says. It says, a friend's son, 10, plays in a Hertfordshire boys football league. If anyone shouts man on, the ref blows his whistle and gives a free kick. They are told they must say person on. Right. So, yeah, and? Who gives a fuck? Right, moving on. Dan Jones, 142, massive Brexit Party milkshake guy energy, hugely so. On page 11, Ashcroft's son's partner faces jail infested by scorpion. Okay, well, the man that she allegedly shot face being pushed into the sea, dead. So, whatever. Winslet insists on her shows bearing all. Kate Winslet says she refused to allow a director to edit a sex scene in which she appeared showing a bulgy bit of belly. Fine, whatever. Everest climbers' hopes for Twin Peaks scuppered. A 20-year-old Briton who put her university career on hold to become the youngest woman to climb 2 of the highest mountains back-to-back has had her hopes dashed. Adriana Brownlee, who had set to climb Everest and Lhotse, the 8,516-metre peak which lies to the south of Everest, and was first climbed in 1956. On Monday, she became the second youngest woman in the UK to reach the summit of Everest, but her attempt to complete the double was called off because of the high risk of avalanches after the impact of Cyclone Yas. That is not Yas, Queen. Mark Knows is going to assume the etymology of Quentin is Middle English Quent. Yes. Quentin Letts, who gives a fuck? Evergreen phrase there. Yeah, pretty much. Stonewall fails to stop lesbian suing in trans row. More turfish stuff from the Times in the framing of that. Elephant trunks use suction to eat. The question, what do elephants and fish have in common, may sound like the beginning of a Christmas cracker joke, but scientists have found they both have a feature not observed in any other creature. Researchers discovered that elephants use a special form of air suction in their trunks to pick up food and handle delicate objects in a technique that was thought to be restricted to fish. Okay, there you go. Mystery. The crash of a stolen Hercules transport plane into the Channel during the Cold War has invited dozens of conspiracy theories about the tale of fate of Paul Meyer, the American aircraft mechanic's decision to abscond from his base in Suffolk on the morning of May 23rd, 1969, officially ended with the Hercules exploding on impact and sinking beneath the waves. Meyer's widow, Jane, who he hoped to reach in America when he set out on his unauthorized flight, was told she would be notified when further information became available, but none came. Evidence has now emerged there was a secret mission to recover the Hercules as part of a cover-up of the embarrassing episode. A pair of British divers who tracked down the wreckage of spending a year dragging a sonar device alongside their boat claimed that parts of the plane were salvaged and taken back to Meyer's base at RAF Mildenhall, which is in Suffolk. Graham Knott, 66, and Simon Brown, 53, are confident the aircraft landed in one piece and sank largely intact. However, the wreckage is now scattered and shows marks of being cut by a cable used by a salvage team to recover parts that the military wanted back. The two have spoken to 2 sources who saw the recovered parts in a hangar at Mildenhall and were able to describe what was missing from the wreckage. Knott and Brown said the marks on the remaining fragments were consistent with a wire sweep from a salvage operation rather than damage accidentally inflicted by a trawler. Henry Ayer, Meyer's stepson, is convinced that the official report was bogus and a cover-up, and that witnesses who broke their silence could provide closure. All it takes is one person to come forward with the truth, he said. The story began when the homesick mechanic single-handedly took off from Suffolk, skirted London to the east and crossed the coast towards France. Near Dieppe, he turned west on a heading that might have delivered him to the east coast of America. Then, while flying north of Cherbourg, he turned 90 degrees to the southwest and was gone. Amateur historians speculate that Meyer, 21, was shot down. Rick Groombridge, a former RAF pilot, believes that an American pilot in F-100 Super Sabre took off from RAF Wattisham in Suffolk and returned minus a missile. Other theories include Meyer becoming disorientated in a cloud, succumbing to hypoxia, or running out of fuel because he failed to switch supply from one set of tanks to another. Knott and Brown, who are waiting for a plankton bloom to subside before they can dive at the site, said they would be relieved to put the story to rest. We want to move on with our lives, Brown said. So much else to do. There's Kristen Scott Thomas's father's aircraft in Lyme Bay. What a interesting one to end on. I don't know the story of Kristen Scott Thomas's aircraft in Lyme Bay, but the Times doesn't give us any details on that. I'm sure someone in the chat knows about that though. The first black soldier to become a regimental sergeant major in the Coldstream Guards has been charged with firearm offences after he was accused of trying to sell ammunition. Kirtland Gill, 40, and Rajan Graham, 32, another guardsman, was arrested after an investigation by the Metropolitan Police Flying Squad into the disappearance of 9mm ammunition used in army pistols. Gill was charged with conspiracy to sell or transfer ammunition and possession of a prohibited weapon relating to an imitation firearm capable of discharging noxious liquid. So there you go. PC stabbed in murder, suspect hunt. Species accounting on UK talks for survival. The survival of mountain hares, puffins, snow leopards and leatherback turtles depends on a strong outcome from a UN conference in Britain this year, a report claims. Some good animal pictures there. Man 21 held over death of flour seller. Oxford Don fed nuclear secrets to communist spies. This is the Times following up on what the Daily Mail reported yesterday. The awful James Kirkup says Johnson's plans can transform Britain for good. We can only hope that that doesn't happen. Alice Thompson says year of COVID has made eating problems sore. Matthew Paris is awful. Roger Boys is still unfortunately named. In the birthdays, Charlie Watts is 80. He's the drummer in the Rolling Stones, of course. Carlos Acosta, the ballet dancer, principal guest artist of the Royal Ballet till 2016, is 48. Sir David Arculus, chairman of O2 PLC, is till 2006, is 75. Kevin Brownlow, the film director, is 83. Michael Clark, the dancer and choreographer, is 59. Constantine II, king of Greece until 1973, is 81. Dominic Cooper, the actor, is 43. John Culshaw, the impressionist, is 53. Sir John Cunliffe, the Deputy Governor of Financial Stability of the Bank of England, is 68. Mims Davis, the awful Conservative MP for Mid Sussex, is 46. Sir Mark Elder, the music director of the Halley Orchestra, English National Opera until 1993, is 74. Jonathan Evans, chairman of British Insurance Brokers Association, is 71. Dave Boy Green, former British welterweight boxing champion, is 68. Tony Hadley, singer-songwriter in Spandau Ballet, is 61. Lasse Hallström, the film director, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, is 75. Right Reverend the Lord Richard Harries of Pentagraph, Bishop of Oxford until 2006, is 85. Dame Rosalind Higgins, QC, President of the International Court of Justice until 2009, is 84. Sonia Lawson, the painter, is 87. Sir Richard Long, the sculptor, is 76. Angela Matthews is 34, is a cricketer for Sri Lanka. Helen Oxenbury, children's writer and illustrator, is 83. Ol Parker, the film director and writer, is 52. Anne Phillips, Professor of Political Science, London School of Economics, is 71. Christopher Powney, Artistic Director of the Royal Ballet School, is 53. Steve Smith, the cricketer for Australia, is 32. Mark Waugh and twin brother Steve Waugh, cricketers for Australia until 2002 and 2004 respectively, are 56. Cornel West, the philosopher and civil rights activist, is 68. Nadim Zahawi, Conservative MP for Stratford-upon-Avon, is 54. On this day in 1966, Surveyor 1, having made a soft landing on the moon, sent back the first close-up images of the lunar surface. And the last word today goes to Thomas Jefferson, 3rd US President, in a letter to Dr. James Curry in 1786. Our liberty depends on the freedom of press, and that cannot be limited without being lost, he said. Happy birthday to Cornel West, particularly, yes. In the world news, US must face cost of its race crimes, says Biden. Turkey snatches Gulen's nephew from Nairobi, reports the Times. That was reported yesterday in other papers. Macron woos provinces on grand tour. Schroeder fined for destroying marriage. Gerhard Schroeder, the former German chancellor, has been ordered to pay his wife's ex-husband about £19,000 in compensation for destroying her previous marriage, Korean media claim. Schroeder married So-Yeon Schroeder Kim, his fifth wife, in a lavish ceremony at the Hotel Adlon in Berlin 4 years ago. The couple are alleged to have begun a relationship in 2016 while married to other people. Schroeder Kim's ex-husband, South Korean plastic surgeon, whose name has not been made public, claimed that Schroeder had contributed to the breakup. He sued Schroeder in the Seoul family court for 100 million Korean won, £63,000. Our marriage collapsed in the end, and the man who is to blame should be held responsible, he submitted. The court awarded him 30 million won, the Korea Times reported. Mafia boss who killed 150 people is set free. A mafia boss, this is in Italy, a mafia boss who killed more than 150 people, blew up a magistrate and dissolved a teenage victim in acid, has been released early from jail, sparking anger amongst politicians and relatives of his victims. Giovanni Brusca, 64, known as the Pig during his career as an executioner with Sicily's Cosa Nostra, walked free from Rebibbia prison in Rome after winning 5 years off his 30-year sentence for good behaviour. One of Italy's most notorious gangsters, Brusca was the go-to killer for the Cosa Nostra's former boss, Totorina, who commissioned the murder of hundreds in a brutal campaign to exterminate rivals before he was jailed in 1993. Son of a mob boss himself, Brusca was arrested 3 years later and revealed, "I committed and personally ordered over 150 murders, and I cannot remember the names of everyone I killed." In 1992, he pressed a button on the remote-controlled roadside bomb that killed a magistrate, Giovanni Falcone, his wife, and 3 police officers. They travelled to Palermo by car. An explosion so powerful it registered as a minor earthquake. A year later, he took part in the kidnapping of 12-year-old Giuseppe Di Matteo, son of mafioso Santino Di Matteo, who had decided to give evidence to police. The boy was strangled and dissolved in acid on the orders of Brusca after being held in captivity for 2 years in an effort to stop his father from talking. Yesterday, politicians from across the political spectrum expressed their disgust that Brusca had been released. In the Times too, what Britain's top style queens are buying this summer? Give a fuck. The Hog, famed simp assassin, says Yu-Gi-Oh! Mark Kenosis, South Korean plastic surgeon whose name has not been made public, is a vibe, isn't it just? David Smith in the business column writes, high inflation only gets dangerous when people think it's permanent. Record house prices put bank on inflation alert. Investors flee M&S over fears of declining footfall. And in the obituaries, Professor Stuart Wolfe, eminent historian of Italy who translated Primo Levi's searing memoir of life in Auschwitz into English. Stuart Wolfe died on May 1st, 2021. He was 85 years old, was also a keen mountain climber. Yes, translated, if this is a man. Also in the obits, Walter Kissinger, brother of famous satanic shithead Henry Kissinger, has died. He was a business executive and died aged 96 last week because Satan wasn't wearing his glasses, or Death wasn't wearing his glasses, sorry. Edwin Apps, actor and writer, whose claim to fame was co-scripting the popular 60s sitcom All Gas and Gators, starring Derek Nimmo, has died. He was 89. All Gas and Gators doesn't sound real, does it? They're trying to sell you a pretend iPad. And in the sport, Ron Kissinger, says Strang. Yeah, I cannot wait for the day when we're on stream and the right Kissinger has died. In the sport, Southgate, blame me if England fail. People will. Ancelotti seals return to Real, and Osaka has to follow the rules, say Wimbledon officials about Naomi Osaka. Right, that was the Times. Some turf shit in there. Minus 69, 69, 69. The triple negative. Nice. And finally, we come to the Daily Mail. Give me your scores, of course, for the Times. But we come to the Daily Mail, our final paper for the day. Front page of the Daily Mail, 50 Shades. So that's how to tie up an ending. Jan Moir's verdict on climactic final book. I'm sure that E.L. James will find a new way of writing more of it. Mark Kenosis rates the Times as -1 dead Kissinger, but not the one you'd hope. Dan Jones, 3142. If there wasn't a huge advertising board behind the players, this Osaka stuff would be a non-issue. Yeah, Jan Moore, says Strang. And the main story is 0 COVID deaths, nothing to fear from Freedom. Daily Mail, you know, irresponsible as ever. The pervy Daily Mail has screen capped kiss between Jane Seymour and Anne Boleyn, who was of course played by a black actress in the new series, because of course they have. Her life was filled with sexual intrigue and political scandal, but the latest telling of the story of Anne Boleyn has added a twist that viewers, historians may find hard to credit, for the Queen is seen kissing her love rival, Jane Seymour. Okay, well, it's a fucking TV show. Get a grip. The Mail is angry about Oxfordshire potentially banning smoking outside. Navratilova weighs in on Osaka press room drama. Martina Navratilova said Naomi Osaka should woman up as the older generation of tennis players question her refusal to give press conferences. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. I am pro Naomi Osaka and fuck the rest of them. On page 5, partner of British tycoon's son denied bail in Belize. It's that story again. On pages 6 and 7, COVID 0 hour. That's their coverage of, potentially there being no deaths yesterday. More on the stealth holiday tax. 100 hours of extra tutoring, but plans for a longer school day are kicked into long grass. Vaccine will be offered to every over 18 in weeks, is the claim. Father arrested over killing of ex-partner and her 9-year-old son. It's just a horrendous story. Strang, cannot wait to see Thames Valley Police try and stop people in Oxford from smoking. Yeah, it's not going to go well. Murky hidden depths of UK's most terrifying plunge pool is the story the Daily Mail goes for on that stupid pool. It's a spectacular 115 feet high feature linking 2 blocks, but it's making waves for all the wrong reasons. One of the reasons is that shared ownership tenants in that building are not allowed to use that pool, and there's a pour door and many other reasons that it's bullshit. On page 17, Lord Heseltine gets a full page to complain about the fact that he had to attend a sexual harassment training course, not how to do it, but how not to do it. Mark Littlewood, the awful Mark Littlewood of the Institute of Economic Affairs, says, paralysed by paranoia, 0 deaths from COVID, while cancer fatalities are expected to soar. On this watershed day, a leading economist despairs of politicians still in the thrall to doom mongers. It's a real fucking stretch to call Mark Littlewood a leading economist. On page 19, agonising dilemma of putting a price on life. Yes, it's wonderful this little boy's future has been transformed by a £1.8 million drug, but it raising troubling questions for the future of the NHS, argues Dr. Max Pemberton, who is fucking awful. Page 22, 6 arrested after boy of 14 is knifed to death. Sensitive headline there by the Daily Mail as usual. A couple needs £26,000 a year to retire in comfort. They claim on page 23. We need to totally rebuild this system. It doesn't make sense. Pensions made sense when Bismarck was around, and they don't anymore. On page 25, after 6 books, 3 films, and some of the cheesiest dialogue ever written, 50 Shades series has finally reached its climax. Jan Noir dies between the covers and says, "So long and Spanx for all the memories." On page 26, Starmer, the old romantic, his 80s student look is revealed. He opens up his tender side. Christopher Stevens gives the Piers Morgan's life stories 4 stars. As I said, check out the newsletter today. I've said quite a lot there about that. Guess who was gazumped on Shepherd's Hut? Yes, a shepherd. London have forked out £16,000 for a cabin valued at just £800. Again, insane. On pages 28 and 29, are these the last victims of the trendy rewilding craze? The Mail apologised for printing these shocking pictures of deer, including one in calf, killed illegally near a Scottish estate. But as Guy Adams revealed, they may be evidence in a criminal inquiry. Oh, fuck off! Guy Adams. Also, look at Guy Adams. Look how much Guy Adams fucking loves himself. Look at his byline picture. Hello, it's me, Guy Adams. Very serious. Moving on. Sebastian Shakespeare says, sometimes it's good to yell at the kids, says Ben Fogel's wife. Give a fuck. On this day, June 21st, 2021, from the Daily Mail archive, June the 2nd, 1916. All married conscripts are called up by a proclamation issued today. This means that on July 24th, every man of military age up to 41, married or single, will be in the army or navy unless exempted or rejected as unfit or passed on to war work. June 2nd, 1979, the Daily Mail wrote, ITV and BBC agreed yesterday not to screen the same sporting events at the same time. The deal marks the end of a 10-year battle over the simultaneous coverage of major events, which has infuriated some viewers, particularly women. Charlie Watts' birthday they celebrate, and also Dominic Cooper, who is 43 today. Born on this day in 1840, Thomas Hardy. Also born on this day in 1949, Heather Cooper, the astronomer and broadcaster, appeared on the sky at night with Sir Patrick Moore. She died in 2020. On June 2nd in 1897, the American writer Mark Twain responded to claims that he had died, saying dryly, the report of my death was an exaggeration. In 1990, the English actor Sir Rex Harrison died, age 82, of pancreatic cancer. Quote of the day comes from Rita Mae Brown, the American writer, who said the reward for conformity is that everyone likes you except yourself. And the joke of the day: what do you call a duck who's always telling jokes? A wise quacker. Johan, is the Keith interview desperate enough to call it jumping the shark, or is there worse to come? There's worse to come. Wait for the Fly on the Wall documentary. But, as I say, check out the newsletter. Dan Jones says, Jan Noir dies beneath the covers is not a phrase I wanted to hear out loud. Yeah, sorry about that. All the usual shit in the Money Mail. Trying to sell you a G-Tech grass trimmer. Why you need to sleep more to eat less, claims Dr. Michael Mosley. TV pick of the day is building Britain's biggest nuclear power station. In the TV reviews, Christopher Stevens gives Anne Boleyn 2 stars, and Extra Life: A Short History of Living Longer also 2 stars. That joke was awful, I agree. Red Tixie. Good news. More wide fit, WIDE fit shoes for those fans of them in the chat. Each pair is now just £12. So, yeah, pretty ugly. Available in navy, grey, and beige. The favourite colour of the Daily Mail reader. In Garfield, Odie is barking and eating, and he's mocking the squirrel. Garfield thinks it's very funny. In Chloe & Co., Chloe and her friend are drinking wine and watching the TV. And in Fred Bassett, Fred is watching his owner and his owner's son playing with a train set and looking happy. Right, and straight to the point letters. Ron Todd writes, why would a couple wanting to get married on the quiet choose to do it in an enormous cathedral? NH Woods says, isn't it great to see an English club win a European competition? However, Chelsea are owned by a Russian, managed by a German, and their captain is Spanish. Joe Samuel says, the Woke Street Kids comic made me chuckle. It rightly pointed out the absurdities we're all having to put up with. By the way, look that up. It's fucking atrocious. Vivian Coombs says, Larry the Cat wasn't the only one to escape criticism by Dominic Cummings. Rishi Sunak and Dominic Raab were praised. Mick Brigstock says, if we wanted unaffordable environmental policies to take us back to the dark ages, we would have voted for the Green Party. Mark Cohen from Manchester says, I miss lockdown, empty roads, litter-free streets, peace and quiet. Rob Lewis says, the funniest BBC subtitle mistake, steak Asians for staycations. Richard Ware says, has very been replaced by really, really? No. Barbara Michael says, the mispronunciation on TV and radio that irritates me most is police rhymed with fleece. It's police, obviously. They're trying to get you to buy a stand of stairlift. Today's recipe is classic jacket potatoes. That is not a fucking recipe, is it? Get a baked potato, bake a potato, put some shit in it. Good old Fred, I love Fred. Favourite colour of the Daily Mail reader is white, says Chronotherm. ACM Tick says, I like this Twitch screen. I'm glad you do. Red Tixie says, fuck off Daily Mail. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. Good. Strang says, Daily Mail readers complaining about words is really a microcosm of the brainworms of the average Briton. Absolutely agree. They're still trying to get you to go on various cruises, including one where you'll be sung at by Lulu and Catherine Jenkins. There's an ad for Churchill Retirement Living, an ad for electric boilers, an ad for hearing aids. Athletes worried about COVID crisis reveals Mo Farah in the sport. Rafa quickly into his stride, but Uncle Tony loses. Osaka's career may be in danger, warns Boris Becker, but he also says we must take mental health issues seriously. Broad and Anderson have earned right to another Ashes shot, says Paul Newman in the world of cricket. Roots ready to rumble, he also writes in a double-page spread about the cricket. Everton's world turned upside down as Ancelotti leaves Goodison Park. And on the back page, Gareth, Final Frontier, injury fears over key pair as England boss picks 4 right backs in bid for Euro glory. That is a Daily Mail. For me, it's a quadruple negative nice, so minus 69, 69, 69, 69. Thank you for joining me today. Just a couple of things in the old... So, I want to do a good magazine special on Friday, and I don't want to pick the magazine. So, if I can avoid it. So, if you are so inclined, throw some money into the newspaper fund. Haven't had any coins in the newspaper fund for a while, so if you can stretch to that, that would be good. Mark Kenosis, and tell me in the comment box of your PayPal contribution what magazine you want to see in the Friday magazine special. Yuan says that the Daily Mail is for fishes. Mark Kenosis says minus all potential pronunciations of the words police, poulos, I've run out now. Minus quadruple 69 from Slicker Meyer. No coins or animals. Red Tick Seed in with a minus 5938. And two more things. Police, says Strang. If you haven't read it yet, check out today's newsletter. And if you're so inclined, have a think about becoming a paid subscriber to the newsletter. £5 a month gets you extra editions, 2 extra editions a week, and other stuff, but also just help support me write a daily media newsletter. Dan Jones is actually Poulis. Tony is a cop. And finally, if you are not yet on Server of the Useless, the Discord server, join, where you will join such excellent people as Studying Fangirl, Slinkermeyer, me, and many others chatting shit about the news. Here is the link for that. So, yes, consider chucking in for the newspaper fund. Consider subscribing for free or paid to the newsletter. And finally, join the Discord. Thank you for joining me today on the paper thing. Time for the roll call. And then that is our show for today. I have been the Broken Bottle Boy. Follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy. In the chat, 1174 2020 ACM Ticks. Thank you for joining us for the first time. Tracks, Aiton, Carbot 14 XYZ, Cashering, Chris McRae, Commander Root, Dan Jones 3142. Thanks for your contributions today in the chat. Has been excellent. Dan La Rosa, good to see you. Feet, Ged Station, the excellent Ged Station, the equally excellent Industrial Pet. The very fine Chronotherm. Morin Skell, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Mogshed, good to see you. Mr. Dort is never. Thanks for tuning in. Red Tick Seed, as ever, an excellent contributor to the chat. As is Slinkermeyer. Do, as ever, get out there and check out her photography. It is brilliant work. Shankly07, a salute to you as ever. Strang, good to see you. Studying Fangirl, thank you for your contributions both in the chat and in the Discord. Cider Streams, always nice to see you here, as it is to see Tom Toms, VNK, Virgo Pros, Yuan, the Fishmeister General, of course, and last but not least, the ever excellent Zoe Brings Bacon. This has been the Wednesday stream of your very own The Paper Thing. We will be back tomorrow with between 3 and 4 papers, depending on how I'm feeling, at 1 p.m. Tune in and do that other stuff in the meantime. Good to see you. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Strang. I'm glad you were here to see it. Do consider catching up on YouTube. Need those views. Cheers all. See you tomorrow.